We live in volatile times. We live in ever-growing complexity. But you know, one thing has not changed in business, and it's this. At the core of business is relationships. So you better make sure that you're approachable. Stay tuned. Today we're going to cover 5 musts when it comes to approachability and how you can be more approachable in the workplace. Also want to talk at the end about a little free e-course that I've developed called the Emotional Intelligence Roadmap. Stay tuned and we'll explore it all. If you've been given some feedback that, you could improve your approachability, then you might be thinking, what can I do? Today, I want to offer you 5 simple areas that you might want to consider when it comes to approachability. Number 1 is your greeting, your first impression. There's a lot of research out there on first impressions, and one of the figures that's often thrown out there is 7 seconds, that in 7 seconds, a person makes a decision about you. Now, what are they deciding? One of the things they're deciding is, are you friend or foe? Are you warm and approachable? And therefore we have to do everything in our power in those initial 7 seconds to make sure that we're giving out the message, no, come, I'm friendly, I want to have this conversation. So how do we do that? Well, part of it is just the simple smile and the greeting. It's amazing how many people spend the time to greet each other, to say hello, to be friendly at the beginning. Very often when we get into, a work schedule and we've seen each other and it's just, pro forma, we don't even greet each other. And especially now that we've moved to a virtual platform, we're even doing it less. But I think it's so perfect just to spend a few moments greeting each other with a smile, a warmth, which just gives that message that I am engaged and approachable. Try it. The second thing that goes on from the first is our body language. Our body speaks a language. When people look at our bodies, they are interpreting all these different things that are happening. And so there are certainly some signals that we are giving off which say, come near or don't come near. And so it's important for us to be as deliberate as possible in those signals that we are saying we're approachable. So we've already mentioned the smile. The second thing is eye contact. Are we making eye contact with a person? Because an eye contact is a way of connecting with another person. Also, our posture. Our posture is amazing, and it says come near or stay away. We can have an open posture, which is inviting, or we can have a closed posture, which is a little more defensive, which almost gives the signal to stay away. So it's important for us just to spend a few moments and explore the world of our bodies and also the body language that we are giving to others to make sure that all of it is consistent and that we are saying we are approachable. Number 3 is our positive negative meter. And what I mean by that is people genuinely want to be around optimistic people. People tend to be exhausted and pull away from negative people. Yep, that's right. And so if our meter is tilting more towards the negativity, then you may find people staying away. But if you tilt a little bit more towards the positivity, you may find that you are attracting people. Now, there's nothing mysterious in that. One of the central tenets of emotional intelligence is that our emotions are contagious. And so therefore, think about it. What would you rather catch? Would you rather catch happiness and joy and enthusiasm? Or would you rather catch someone's bad mood and negativity? No, we want to flee from people who bring that kind of energy. And so if you want to make yourself approachable, therefore just take time to assess where you're at in that moment. It doesn't mean that we can't be angry. It doesn't mean we can't have bad moods. It doesn't mean we can't bring up bad situations. But just be aware if that's the only mood we have or that we're constantly harping on things that are going wrong, because people will avoid that energy. Number 4 is listen and be curious. You know, I am always amazed at the power of great listening. If you think about the last time that someone really connected with you in a deep and meaningful way and truly listened to what you said, I'm afraid you would have to search long and far. At least that's the experience of most people. And so if we can truly engage with someone and listen to them, listen in a way that helps them know that we have listened to their emotions, we've listened to what they're said and the content, it will lead to an engagement, and also it will lead to them searching us out in the future. Very often when it comes to approachability, what we find are people say, oh, they're always distracted. They just don't listen. I say things, but it has no impact or no meaning. And that's a sign that we've not been listened to. Another technique to use when they're listening is the beautiful word curiosity. To be curious about them, to ask more questions. You know, questions are at the heart of great leadership. Questions are at the heart as well of great approachability, because questions signify that I am interested. I want to know more. So if you want to improve your approachability, ask some more questions and listen. And the final approach when it comes to being more approachable is the word vulnerability. It means opening up a little bit. You know, people really respond well when we become more vulnerable. Our vulnerability enables others in turn to be vulnerable themselves. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about the deep, dark secrets that we have to come in and to spill our guts, but I'm talking at times the simple opportunities we have to be a little more vulnerable. How about this in the workplace to say, you know what, I need help. I just don't get it. You know, sometimes people say, oh, I can't ask for help. That's showing a little vulnerability. Or how about, you know what, I got it wrong. I messed up. I need help as well. So these are opportunities to open up a little bit and be more vulnerable with those around us, because there's something interesting about vulnerability. It's very attractive. It makes us want to engage. You know, there's nothing worse than trying to relate to the perfect person who never makes a mistake. But when we find someone opening up and being a little more vulnerable, there is something genuinely attractive about that, which makes the person much more approachable. So there we have it. Approachability is something that we can change and something we can master in those 5 easy steps. Now, I also wanted to talk a little bit about a free e-course, which is called the Emotional Intelligence Roadmap. If you click on the link below, it will take you to it. In that, I explore some of the basics around emotional intelligence, some of which I've just explored in this video about listening, about being aware. And it's just a wonderful way to help you become more emotionally intelligent. And what we know is that leaders who have higher levels of emotional intelligence are much more impactful in the workplace.